Welcome back. We continue looking at the 2022 National Senior Certificate exam results, which were released earlier on this evening. Top achievers announced at a breakfast event earlier on this morning by the Department of Basic Education Minister Angie Motshekga. So let's just tear apart some of the salient points coming out of these briefings. We speak now to Professor Solomon Mawela about some of these. Professor Mawela, very good evening to you. Professor Mawela is from UNISA's College of Education. He's the acting manager for teaching and learning. Professor Mawela, the unique educational context for the class of 22 formed part of the technical report. I'd like to just hear your perspectives of some of what you read.
Tapisa, I can hear you, but the sound is a little bit far from where.
Okay, I'm going to see if our technical producers can boost the sound on your end. But I was asking about the unique educational context for the class of 2022. Much has been made about that, saying that it also accounts for an improvement since 2019. This is reflected in the technical report. And I was asking for your perspectives on some of the highlights of that, particularly the unique educational context for the class of 2022?
Wow, maybe one, we should actually upload the 2022 class Matric. They have done exceptionally well. And I agree with Minister Angie Motshekga on the issue of indicating that the results indeed, they're showing that and we are going somewhere with regard to our teaching and learning in our Department of Basic Education. So yes, from 2019 to 2022, one could agree that yes, the results are looking very good. What the learners of the 2022 class, they have achieved with all the challenges that which they were going through, together with the teachers and the parents, one could say that collectively we have done exceptionally well.
I mean, the report also talks about the changes that they were subjected to in relation to curriculum and assessment. And obviously, there had to be some pivoting from the teachers and the learners side. What would you say were the most significant?
Yeah, the best way of teaching during the pandemic that which we were going through was not one method or approach that which one could say this was the best method. So teachers, they find themselves at the back foot to understand the best way of teaching the learners and under the challenges that which they were going through, the challenges of the load shedding, one could put it that way, the challenges of the strikes that which they were going through, and even the uprisings that which they were going through. So the best way of saying this was the best approach, despite the fact that we came up with the online teaching and learning, the rotational teaching and learning, that was some of the issues that we could say that teachers and also Department of Basic Education, they were very much innovative. And how to assess learners during that time, it was not an easy thing. I will give you an example of when we were visiting the school as UNISA, because we do visit schools, to encourage the teachers and try to get them understanding of other ways to improve their assessment. It was not an easy way for rural areas learners to say we are going online. That was another thing. With the challenges that which they have, they didn't have the gadgets, and most of the issues we were talking of the data. So assessing the learners in a most appropriate way, it was one of the most challenging. Giving feedback to the learners, it was one of the most challenging ways, because it was not about just assessment. It was also giving constructive feedback to the learners. But one could say that with the legal that which the teachers they have, the schools they have, parents working together, it was a collective working in order to make sure that the teaching is taking place in schools, and also the assessment of the learners to make sure that when matric exams come, learners are already prepared.
The minister also saying the indication is that this is the strongest cohort from the last 3 years. As you mentioned, some of those challenges unique in particular to 2022. I mean, we experienced some of the worst load shedding that this country has ever seen. But the minister also mentioning that this is the fifth cohort to be writing an addition, or should I say, this is the class that was the first cohort to be introduced to 12 new subjects. And I'm just wondering, when you're doing your analysis and understanding the grasp and also the improvement in the curriculum and the performance when you're looking at tertiary level, what litmus test are you looking at as well?
It's quite a challenging one to stand up and say the curriculum in which we are improving. One should applaud the Department of Basic Education that they are doing a very stunning job in improving the curriculum, and even including the new subjects that which are actually moving towards building the learners when they come into the tertiary level, and they will be finding space on. This is the field that which they would love to pursue. But at the same time, when we say that this is a new a subject that which we are introducing, I think the research, as the minister she has highlighted, that the research is building into giving us the direction. South Africa is one of the countries that which is doing very well in finding better ways of teaching subjects that which are becoming relevant to the needs that which we are saying that these are the areas of need that which we need our learners or our students as they come to the tertiary level, they should pursue. The careers that which can benefit in our country and the economy at large. So I will applaud the Department of Basic Education, the minister and their team into finding the subjects that which are new and trying to come up with the best way of also teaching those subjects, because it is another thing to find a new subject or a new content that was supposed to be implemented or taught in schools. But the teachers themselves, they need to be to be workshopped towards improving on how they can teach those subjects, how they can assess the learners those subjects, and prepare them so that by the time they come to the tertiary institution, yes, they are ready. Because we at the higher institution, as Minister Blazing demanding, saying that we are ready to admit them, of course, it's true, but at the same time, the number of the subjects that which they have passed, and also how did they pass, it matters the most. Will they stand the test of time as they come to the tertiary institutions, because it is much more challenging. But really, I applaud the Department of Basic Education on the initiatives that which they are making at this stage.
All right. Just a final question, Professor Mawela. The minister, or actually the technical report itself, looks at the internal efficiencies of the basic education system. Now, often when we, the laymen, judge not only in terms of the Matric results, how many received university pass entrance, for the longest of times, we're talking about the 30% pass mark. It's always at a cosmetic level. So when we talk about the internal efficiencies of the basic education system, how would you unpack it for us laymen to understand what the system is itself looking at?
I've worked at the Department of Basic Education as a teacher and also even as a school principal. And one could easily understand that as we look at how the learner is supposed to pass, and from one subject to the other, because if you look at the best way of analyzing the results, it's not necessarily looking at we have achieved a 90% pass rate. It is also going down into how many students have achieved the bachelor's to qualify to go to the universities. We are not saying that only bachelor's should qualify, should be the best students per se, but even those that which have got a higher certificate, they are still having standing a chance. But one could simply say that a 30%, as it says, the learners have passed with a 30% in mathematics, where there is a literacy. To give example of that one, we are trying to encourage even the learners in mathematics that don't run away from mathematics, don't fear math and look at it as a guru. It is something that which you can do it, and it's one way of encouraging that, yes, you can start from this level. As you come to a higher institution, you can still improve and end up following or pursuing the career that which you intend to do, whether in physical science and even in mathematics. So the 30% and the 40% that which they have as the learners, they are achieving that. We are actually saying yes, because it is encouraging. There are those that which we don't want them just to remain at the matric for the rest of their youth. We want them to get that higher certificate and to go to the TVET colleges. So it is something that which you could say that they are the learners that which can perform to the level of the 80s and the 90s, as people, they think that just that's the best way to pass the matric level. We have got the best engineers who achieved from 30%, they went into the TVET colleges and they end up doing very well. And those are the people that which we are looking for. So the standard that which is put by the Department of Education is not necessarily lowering. No, it's to accommodate it. Remember, the minister was also talking about the retaining the learners. We need to retain the learners. And we also want to retain the learners who are doing physics and mathematics and accounting. And we don't want them to say that now that you didn't achieve 50%, you are useless. No. We want them so that they can move with us, and we end up training them, and they become better than even the students that which could have maybe achieved 80% and achieving the bachelor's.
Prof, thank you so much.
Put it in short.
Thank you so much for that comprehensive response, especially on the issue of the internal efficiencies of the basic Department of Education. Professor Solomon Mawela is UNISA's College of Education's Acting Manager, Teaching and Learning.